Evelyn adjusted her glasses, a faint smile gracing her lips as she surveyed her modest yet tastefully decorated living room. Sunlight streamed in from the large windows, illuminating dust particles dancing in the air and casting long shadows from the potted plants gracing the corners. In the center of it all sat an upright piano, its polished surface reflecting the room's cozy ambience. It was here, in this quiet sanctuary, that Evelyn had been conducting her private piano lessons for years. A light knock echoed in the stillness, drawing Evelyn's attention to the door. A moment later, it opened and in walked Clara, a young woman of 19, carrying a battered leather-bound notebook. "Ms. Hart," Clara greeted, her cheeks flushing slightly as she met Evelyn's gaze. Come in, dear," Evelyn responded warmly, her tone as soothing as the gentle piano melody drifting from the instrument. "Have a seat." As Clara settled onto the chair opposite Evelyn, her gaze couldn't help but wander around the room, taking in the framed sheet music on the walls and the well-thumbed books on the side table. Evelyn watched her for a moment, a knowing smile playing on her lips. She had been doing this for a long time, teaching music and sensing the subtle emotions of her students. "Ready for our lesson today, Clara?" Evelyn asked, her voice like the rustling of piano keys. Clara turned her attention back to Evelyn, a determined look on her face. "Yes, Ms. Hart, I'm ready." Over the past few months, their sessions had become a ritual. Every late afternoon, the sun painting the room in hues of gold and amber, they would meet. But it wasn't just about music. There was a current of energy between them, a silent acknowledgement that there was more to these meetings than just notes and chords. As the lesson commenced, Clara's fingers danced across the keys, filling the room with music. Evelyn listened intently, occasionally offering guidance or gentle critique. She knew she shouldn't, that it wasn't professional, but she couldn't help herself. There was a depth in Evelyn's gaze that both intrigued and frightened her. For Evelyn, it was a constant battle between her duty as a teacher and the undeniable attraction she felt towards her student. She had dealt with admiring glances before, but Clara was different. The intensity in her eyes, the passion with which she played, and the innocent curiosity she held, it all tugged at Evelyn's heartstrings. "Take your time, dear," Evelyn said softly, rising from her seat. "Sometimes the music just eludes us, doesn't it?" She moved to stand by the window, her back to Clara, giving the younger woman space. Clara rose slowly, her legs weak. As she approached the window, her reflection superimposed over Evelyn's image. What was happening to her? The lessons had always been intense, but lately it was as if a dam had broken inside her. Turning, Clara saw Evelyn looking at her expression unreadable. "Why are you here?" Clara blurted out. Her voice was low and firm, leaving no room for argument. "No," Clara whispered, stepping even closer, her gaze locked onto Evelyn's. "No, I won't, because I'm not a child. I'm a woman, and I know what I feel." For a moment, there was only silence. Evelyn stared at Clara, her expression unreadable. Then, to Clara's surprise, a faint smile touched her lips. "You certainly are a woman, she said softly. Clara's heart raced as she searched Evelyn's face for understanding, for confirmation. But all she saw was a hint of amusement and a shadow of weariness. I've always enjoyed our conversations, Clara, Evelyn continued, her eyes drifting to the piano. Your passion for music is admirable, but you must understand, she turned back, her expression softening, that I cannot reciprocate those feelings. I'm your teacher. Are you? Clara challenged, her voice laced with desperation. 'Cause sometimes you don't feel like my teacher, and that scares me. Clara, Evelyn sighed, stepping away. This is getting us nowhere. She gestured to the piano. Shall we continue with our lesson? The rest of the lesson passed in a blur. Clara's hands moved mechanically over the keys as her mind reeled from Evelyn's words. Reciprocate. Of course she couldn't reciprocate. How could she? Evelyn was her teacher. When the lesson ended, Clara gathered her things quickly without a word. She rushed out the door, leaving Evelyn sitting at the piano, the room heavy with unspoken emotions. Days turned into weeks, and the lessons resumed their previous rhythm. But the carefree atmosphere was gone, replaced by a heavy silence. Clara still came to the lessons, but her spirit was broken. The fire that had burned within her had dimmed, replaced by a dull ache. Evelyn watched her with growing concern, realizing the damage her words had caused. She knew she should have been more firm from the start, but she had hoped that Clara's feelings would fade. But they hadn't, and now she saw the toll it was taking on her student. One afternoon, as Clara sat playing a sad melody, Evelyn found herself unable to bear the sight any longer. She rose from her seat and walked over to Clara, placing a hand gently on her shoulder. I'm sorry, she said softly. I didn't realize how deeply you felt about this. Clara startled, her fingers leaving the keys. She turned to Evelyn, tears glistening in her eyes. It's all right, Miss Hart. I understand. Her voice cracked. It's just that sometimes it hurts. Evelyn's heart ached at the sight of the tears brimming in Clara's eyes. She wanted to reach out and wipe them away, but she hesitated, her fingers hovering inches from Clara's face. Look at me, Clara, she said softly, her voice thick with emotion. You deserve someone who can give you everything, someone who can love you as you are. Clara's eyes met Evelyn's, and for a moment, the walls between them crumbled. Evelyn saw the pain in Clara's eyes, the confusion and the longing. And in that moment, she knew she couldn't keep holding on to the pretense any longer. She leaned forward, her lips brushing against Clara's. It was a tentative kiss, a question rather than a statement. And when Clara responded, her lips parting and her arms winding around Evelyn's neck, Evelyn knew she wasn't just answering the question, she was embracing it. As their lips met, the years of restraint and discipline melted away. Evelyn held Clara close, feeling the younger woman's body molding against hers, and she knew in that moment that she wasn't just a teacher anymore. She was Evelyn, the woman who loved music, the piano. And now, most importantly, she was Evelyn, the woman who loved Clara.